All right. Well, I'm recording now. The
Okay.
recording has started, and so have you, right?
Very good, Sorrel. So we're on. Welcome everybody to the Daily Huddle. We appreciate the time that you took to be here, and we're super excited. My name is Giovanni Gonzalez, and I co-host the Daily Huddle with my good friend and mentor, Sorrel Catan. Welcome everybody. Sorrel, take
Good
it over.
morning, everyone. Giovanni, thank you so much for creating the Daily Huddle with me, a space where people around the world can find for themselves what they need to be better leaders in life and in business, and to make great decisions and make a difference, not just for their families and themselves, but for their businesses and their communities. And I'm happy and excited today to have my mother, sister, friend as our expert guest. And I want to introduce to you and the world Sheila James. Now, you may have been working diligently to survive and stop the spread of the coronavirus. But here's a question. Are your emotional states and actions any different than they would have been in the absence of COVID-19? Well, Sheila James today is challenging you and I to take a closer look at our life right now and before COVID-19. Ponder this question. What is the pandemic revealing or unconcealing about the way in which you live your life, run your business, and participate in life? Well, Sheila James is very well qualified to address this question with us and lead the inquiry. She is an empowerment coach known for impacting and empowering individuals, organizations, and young people in being effective, being results producers, and being extraordinary human beings. She's a native of Gary, Indiana, born to Reverend and Mrs. Julius James. Her dad was a major influencer. You see, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Her dad was friend and colleague to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Sheila James is the founder and CEO of St. James Media, a company created to empower people, society, and humanity through empowerment coaching, consulting, and media. World, wherever you are, wherever you're sitting, whatever you're doing, brace yourself. I give you Sheila James. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sorrel, Giovanni. I see you clapping. Thank you so much. And welcome to the Daily Huddle this morning. I am Sheila James, and I'm an empowerment coach. And this year, inside of what I've been creating, I've authored, and I'm facilitating, is 2020, the next 5 years. 2020, the next 5 years. And where you actually look to plan, think, act, create what you're out to cause for yourself in your life in the next 5 years, not just tomorrow. So one of the things that the pandemic has unconcealed and revealed is how we plan for today and the next day, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. So as I have this conversation, this is actually a part of the coaching series that I've written, and which is, again, is 2020, the next 5 years. But the question you want to ask yourself as well, are you going into the next 5 years on solid ground? Are you going on sinking sand? Now, in some areas, you might be going into the year, you're really solid. You might be really flat with your finances or with your home, but with your business, you've got breakdowns. You know, so what we want to do is give clarity to your foundation. And part of what this pandemic has unconcealed and revealed is our foundation for living our life and living our life powerfully, whether it's with your church, your health, your children, your future. I mean, in 5 years, how old will you be? In 5 years, will you be an empty nester? In 5 years, how much would you have wanted to grow your church, your small business, your big business, your law firm, your doctor's office, your community? So I'm going to speak to Sorrel and Giovanni, your fundamental personal foundation. So when there are things in our foundation, which I think we're all beginning to see for ourselves, is you bump up against unworkability. So for some people, for example, with the pandemic, they have an emergency fund. An emergency fund is 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 1 year, 2 years income, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. But even if you had 1 year, even if you had 90 days, the pandemic might look different. Do you guys follow what I'm saying? It might look very, very different. And, or if it was like in your home, if your home was clean, if your home was organized, if there was no clutter in your home, then life might be different during the pandemic. Right now, most of us are pulled into what we're dealing with versus distinguishing for yourself. What is it unconcealing? What is it revealing to you? What do you see? What are actions you can take that you had not even maybe considered taking around your health, around the way we live our lives? So this has somewhat been, while it's devastating to most of us, many of us, if not all of us, have been totally impacted by what we're dealing with. Some of us, this is where, in particular, the entrepreneur gets going. You know, when the going gets tough, the entrepreneur gets in action. They're looking to build a better mousetrap. See, even for myself, I had to turn the TV off. I have 2 influencers who lets me know every day what I need to know regarding the pandemic. And that's all I watch, because I was getting pulled into it versus, whoa, what can I create? What's not working in my life? What's not working? You know, that corner right over there, I've been saying I was going to clean it once. Come to think about it, a good friend of mine passed away during the pandemic in New York. And then his wife was in the hospital and she passed away 3 days later. It was 4 days before they could get into the house. How come? Nobody had the key. Are we really organized for performance? Are we organized for emergency? So we can start to think and create and cause something new inside the what we're dealing with versus continuing to have life come at you. And this kind of came at us, right? And it was huge, and who knew it would be so impactful? So, you know, and the other thing that, you know, and then we'll have questions, Sorrel, you know, the other things you want to look at is the effect of clutter. The impact of clutter, the impact it has on your life, the impact it has on your energy. When there's clutter, your energy stagnates. When you have clutter, and you're surrounded by clutter, it's like dragging a ball and chain around. Some of you see it the second you wake up. Some of you sleep with it, like on top of the covers. So there's so many projects you can begin to take on. It's like, wow, what an opportunity. What an opportunity. Versus calling person to person. Get in action, because, you know, trouble don't last always. This will pass. It really will pass. So when you're surrounded by clutter, it suppresses your aliveness. And if we look up and out in some of our communities and some of our churches and the educational system, and this is an election year, you know, it's time for us, if they're not sufficient candidates, how come we're not on TV saying, listen, we're not voting for any of you. We want new candidates. I'm saying it's like, wake up. Like this is like an earthquake, like shaking us up and getting us present. to life. The life as we know it, the life as we knew it, is forever gone. It's over. So we want to do the planning, the thinking, the acting, clearing our clutter. If you're suppressed, that clutter could be right in your purse. Everything, you know how everything, you know, we are notorious for, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. I'm great. And life is not really, and then behind all that is a facade. Life's not working, or it's not working as well as you want it to, or it's not working in certain areas. So we want to get free and clean and distinguish. It's time to organize. It's time to purge. It's time to cleanse. It's time to reinvent ourselves from the inside out. Our mind, you know, I pray different now. You know how you used to kind of, well, I'll just say for me, pray and you're kind of rushing, you're not really present to what you're praying for or asking God or whomever, Buddha, whatever your genre is. You know, I'm like really looking. Last night I prayed and I got moved by the prayer because it wasn't just saying something. The words had meaning. It's time to stop and get present and pull life to you versus from you. You know, I watched the 10 Commandments the other night, Saturday, and it has a new meaning. It has new meaning. Honor thy father and thy mother. Love, L-O-V-E, love thy neighbor. Do you know if your neighbor needs anything? So this has been a real 2020, no accident. Really, it's saying we cannot go on the way we've been going here in the United States and in the world. But here, let's just be responsible for the United States of America. Let's be responsible for your church. Let's be responsible for the schools in your community. Let's be responsible for who you are. If you're listening to this, I know you're a leader, and I know you're someone who makes a difference in life and in the world, and that you impact people when you touch them, when you speak to them. This coaching series took on a whole new face, Sorrel, when this happened. I was like, wow, what are we doing? What are we creating? Are we going to leave a legacy? Yes, we are. Now the question becomes, what's the legacy that you will be leaving? When people say your name, what's behind it? What matters to you? What's the imprint that you've actually made on society and mankind and humanity? What is your foundation? What is COVID-19 unconcealing about you? What is COVID-19 revealing about you? We could look at the government. We actually can see a lot of what is unconcealing and revealing called it's not working. That one's easy. But now we got to take that apart as well. And you can take your church, you know, there's maybe more things that we now need to address in the church with our children. What about citizenship? When are we going to stop talking about go voting? And how do you get to the source of having our children and young people already getting that's their birthright? When they walk out of school, they're ready to vote. Like, we got to flip it. And how we flip it, we get to the source of things. We operate from the source of something. So that's what I have, Sorrel, really.
Well, Sheila, when you sent the question to us, I got something for myself. And I'll say what I got for myself, and then we'll open it up for the rest of the studio audience on Zoom and the worldwide audience to ask questions.
Yes.
You know, I got like, oh my God, I've been relating to COVID-19 and the pandemic as the trigger for my current behavior. And then when I looked based on the question, it's like, oh my God, I'm still complaining. I'm still fighting in some way, and I'm still running away from my life,
Mm.
and I'm just surviving. Mind you, I'm pretty good at it. I'm surviving at a very high level,
Yes, you are, Sorrel. Yeah.
but yet I am surviving, right? And one of the things I want to share is that I I have a certain relationship with my daughter-in-law. I call her my favorite daughter-in-law because that's who I want her to be for me.
Mm.
But in the background is that I'm jealous that she has a better relationship with her father-in-law than me.
Mm.
And, you know, this may be minor to some people, but it's a big deal to me. And in your question, I
Mm.
saw how much I have been avoiding that, and that the behavior that now is, oh, it's COVID-19, we have to isolate ourselves, right?
Right.
And now I'm isolated from her, and it's kind of convenient. and and it goes on and on. I can look at my business, I can look at my personal life, I can look at my relationship with my family members. How I'm behaving now in the heat of the pandemic is no different than how I'm
Mm.
behaving. And your question, what is the pandemic unconcealing? That's what it's unconcealing for me.
It's great, Sorrel.
Yeah.
And Sorrel, that was really great. And do you see, because we all have, it did put us in check with how not in check we are with many of our relationships. Many of the people who live right in the same household as we do. Many who live across the street, many we work with, or whatever that relationship is. Sorrel, do you see something new or new action or a new way to relate with your daughter-in-law to, you know, really to cause something unimaginable in the relationship?
Yes, I actually do. And you know, doesn't it, finally I got, oh, it's not that complicated. I could just call.
Hello. It's great.
You know, and
That is so great. All
and
right. Well, thank you for that authenticity in your sharing. Is there
thank you.
anyone else with questions? You said we'd open it up for questions,
Well,
right?
it's that time now.
Or comments.
Yeah. Come on, world. Sheila's all yours.
I see, should I call on the person?
Yes, Mary Pat has her hand up. Mary
Go
Pat.
ahead, Mary.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for being able to be on this call and for everybody making it possible for me. And Sheila, good morning.
Good morning, Mary Pat.
And thank you. What I was totally present to and what I've been dealing with is actually being with exactly what's present in front of me during this pandemic and not being available, I think, for my family and for different ones where before I was just kind of going along and they were doing their thing and we were doing our thing. And then as things came up, being available in a space of not giving them what I want them to do or what I think they should do or any of those things, but just hearing their concerns and then actually being with them. And that, which has made a huge difference in our family.
Good.
And it's just responsibility, I think, is the word that I really keep taking on, is that I'm 100% responsible for me. And that means my relationship with my children and my in-laws and, you know, my husband and my everything. Just
Mary,
being responsible for the words you speak, even.
and are you being responsible? Are you providing leadership in your family during this time?
Yes, yes.
Good.
It's there.
Now,
and yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and the responsibility of listening
Yeah.
That's where, yeah, that's the responsibility that I'm taking on. And like I had a conversation with my son who had lost his job, and you want to say, well, what about this and what about that? And I just stopped and I said, I just want to be responsible. I want to be here for you. Whatever it is you need, I'm here for you. And he's like,
Great.
Mom, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Mom. So that kind of responsibility.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Mary Pat, first of all, thank you. You brought up something else that I meant to mention while I was creating this whole thing. What is it unconcealing? What is it revealing? Are you prepared for life or death? That was another
Absolutely.
piece of it. And this
Yes.
is for everybody. It's like one of the things I noticed outside of my son, the place I used to work, and a good friend of mine who lives about an hour away from me, no one in my family has a key to my house. Seems like a small thing, but I'm like, no one has a key to
it's
my
huge.
house.
Yeah, it's huge.
Do you have a will?
Mm-hmm.
Have you revisited in the past 5 years, 2 years? Do you have an estate plan?
Right.
Do you have
All of this.
enough? And this is for everyone. Do you have a life insurance? And if you do, how much is enough? Life insurance is not for burial. It's to replace the breadwinner's income, at least 80% of it or more. So that's like one area. Your finances, your legal matters, are they in order? Have we returned all calls? Are people going to inherit a mess? Please mute. Are people going to inherit a mess or a legacy? Something that's possible, something that the family outside of grieving can go on, can move on. And if you're living, what do you now see? What I saw, I don't have an emergency fund in place. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. What if everybody in America, we certainly work hard enough, had at least 1 year's income? So that part wouldn't even be a problem right now. We'd be dealing with something else. I'm just saying we've got to open up how we think, how we live, how life comes at us. And start having a say in the way life's going to go.
Well, the one thing I've been saying through this and actually praying for all of us, every single person on this earth, to really have an awakening of what and who you are and the difference you can make. Like you said, when you just said that, are you going to leave a legacy or a mess? That's a huge question. That's not just a little simple question. That is a huge question.
Yeah,
So that was really great. Thank you for that. I mean, that's,
you're welcome, Mary
just taking
Pat.
that on, and just for all of us to be awakened to the gratefulness that we have. I think that was one thing I wasn't really grateful for, things that I actually were in place and I did have. I was just moving on. And now to really stop and be with it is just a whole different world. So thank you for all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Pat. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sheila, we've got 5 minutes left, and I want to give you the last minute for you, right?
Yes.
So I'm requesting that if you're asking a question and sharing, keep it succinct and keep it nice and short. So we're going to go to Natalie. Natalie, go ahead and go off mute.
Okay, great. Hi, Natalie.
Hello.
You're on mute. Yes.
Threw me off. So my question, what I've seen for myself is that I've been extremely fearful, and not necessarily of COVID-19. Fearful of not having a future already in mind. So I guess my question to you would, what should I have already in my mindset, or what should I be doing next in order to solidify what that next 5 year looks like?
That's a segue into do my coaching series, but okay, I'm just saying, right? That is really one action. Thank you, Natalie, for that question. So where you are is like creating a future. And what I can hear is some stuckness around that, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So one, you can give myself a call, you can give Sorrel or Giovanni a call, but you will need to take an action and begin to participate and engage in something bigger than yourself. If we could figure it out ourselves, it would be already done. Okay? So there's some work there is to do, but what you can do now, I'm not kidding. If everyone took apart, let me just start with me, my purse, and put integrity in my purse and organized it and cleaned it out, and then maybe start with a bathroom. I'm not kidding. You'll start to move your energy, Natalie. This is one action. These are actions you can take free of charge.
Right.
Because when that energy is stuck and we're tired, I promise you there's clutter in your life. I promise you, without question. And with some people, everything looks good on the outside, but don't open the garage. Don't go in the attic. Oh no, we don't use the basement. You know that?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing, and I'm really serious, you want to begin to, this is something you can do while we are, I don't like the word isolated, but while we're at home enjoying our homes and the roof that we have over our head and being grateful for the roof that we have on our head, over our head, and that we have light and we have running water and we have food. And if you're lucky, you've got some toilet paper, right? But as we're grateful for that and thankful, you know, there are actions you can take and programs you can participate in, starting with 2020, the next 5 years, or something else. There's plenty out here. There's an abundance of ways to participate to begin to move your life from where it is and move it forward. Okay?
Well, Sheila.
Yes. Does
we've
that
come
wrap
to
me
the
up?
last minute, right?
Yes. Well, here we go.
Well,
first,
what is your last word for us in the world?
Okay, here's my last word for us in the world. You know, I'm going to leave you with what I call Bible B's. And this is a way to be for everyone who's listening. Bible B's. Be ye holy in all manner of conversation. Be ye holy, for I am holy. 1 Peter 15:16. Be patient. James 5:7. Be at peace. Job 22:21. Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. Matthew 14, can't see finger, 14:27. Be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. Peter 3:14. Be clothed with humility. 1 Peter 5:5. Be sober, be vigilant. 1 Peter 5:8. Be subject one to another. Peter 5:5. And one more. Be strong and of good courage. Joshua 1:6. As we face this unpredictable future, have faith, be patient, and let your light shine. That's my final word, Sorrel and Giovanni. Thank you for the opportunity.
And thank you for being here, and thank you for creating this for us. To all of you who were in the audience on Zoom, thank you. I know how much you love Sheila and you love her. She's going to be advertising soon her 2020.
The next 5 years.
The next 5 years. Sign up, jump in, and Sheila, Giovanni, and myself are looking forward to continuing our work together.
Yes.
Being on the Daily Huddle.
Absolutely.
All right.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
everybody.
Love
Have a
you.
great day.
Thank you.
Stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
All right.